Hello and welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful, beautiful June 21st, man. Second day of summer. Sometimes it's the solstice. Summer solstice was yesterday. That means it was the high point, the longest day in the northern hemisphere, where the sun rained down upon us and just blasted us with heat. How else was Phoenix? Phoenix had to win that game, man. They are the Suns. Yesterday was the day the sun is in the air, the longest in the northern hemisphere. And I think the Suns are going to keep on rolling through the West. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to season episode 182. You can see it on me on the board for the YouTubers, man. That's, if you do the math, that's half the days out of the year. Half the days, including weekends, including holidays, all those things, man. It is half of them. And this will be the last episode of season one, so I'm really glad that everybody's here on the show. Truthfully, there's no basketball games today. There is a hockey game. We just finished up the U.S. Open. Come on, Louis. You let me down, man. You let me down. I could have had some decent change in the pocket. That's all right, though. That's betting. C'est la vie, man. You never know. You can be winning, have an excellent nine, and drop it in the back, right? That's just, that's life. But this channel is going to try to help you in your betting and your fantasy, and those that have been tuned in the whole time, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the loyal listeners, man. It's been a lot of fun. We've already made a lot of changes from day one to day 182, and there's just more changes on the way. We're going to close down for the last couple of weeks, revamp it. The logo's already new. I've already kind of been teasing it out there. There's lots of come, guys. The draft kit's coming, and when we come back, it's going to be almost all football. I will be talking NBA playoffs a little bit, but we're going to be talking about futures. We're going to be talking about teams that win the division, who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, fantasy stats out the wazoo. We're going to be talking about IDPs, baby. Keeping it defensive. Hashtag Where's the D is going to be coming back in full swing. Fantasy football sevens. Go check that out. That is my created system of points. I think it balances it out. It makes every position have relative worth. It makes watching every play super exciting, including field goals, including kickoffs, including punt returns, including fumble pick sixes by the big fat man. Yeah, who doesn't love seeing those fat guys jiggle and dance and fly their way to the end zone and get that six, baby? Come back and put on the mask. Yeah, dab him up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we all love seeing that, dude. You don't like seeing the pick six by the corner going all the way, taking it to the house, blasting by, pointing and laughing at people? Of course you love seeing that. And we're going to make sure that's all there. And before we get too far, I want to bring it out. It's Kawasaki Kids. That's a charity league we'll be running off of Sleeper. Hashtag, shout out to those guys. I really appreciate Sleeper. I've been writing from them since their first year. Feels good to be back with them and hosting some stuff. But Kawasaki Kids, man, Kawasaki's disease, one of the leading heart disease problems in developed countries, yet it is unaware. Most people don't know what it is. So go check it out. We asked for the donation. We have a modest goal of 1,000. So any of you listeners out there, you feel like you got the big pocketbooks, just go ahead and dish out that 1,000, man, and we'll hit our goal, and we'll go beyond that with what everybody else is giving away. It'll be fun too, guys. It's an IDP league if you've never played IDP. It's a 16-team league if you've never played 16 teams. And let me tell you something. I preach this and I preach this and I preach this. But the truth is, when you're playing a 16-team league, when you start playing with IDPs, it's going to open up the game for most of you casual fans in a way that you just didn't understand. And once it will bring so much more knowledge and understanding just to your experience. It will help you in your 10-team leagues. It'll help you in your 12-team leagues. It'll help you in your non-IDP leagues, your PPR. Oh, let's just focus on these little pretty boy wide receivers that catch it out in the flats and run in 3 or 4 yards and get tackled. They do that 6 or 7 times a game. That it rewards that you will learn a lot more about football, and it will help you exponentially in your betting and in your fantasy. And we're all about titles over here. I got Vince, my man, over here. You know what I'm saying? The title king himself. I got LeBron over here. I think he's won enough titles to shut people up. And then Nathan McKinnon. I thought he was going to do it this year. But then you have me. I'm a champion. I'm a multi-sport champion. I've been playing fantasy sports over 10 years. When it comes to football, No offense to anybody listening, no offense to the friends, but I would take my fantasy knowledge and my football knowledge and battle anybody in their format of their choosing, and I will at least make the playoffs and probably be in the Final Four. And once you get to the Final Four, I don't care what anybody says, you got to have a little luck. Nobody got there by being a bad team, by not paying attention. So you are all going to be kind of equal there. Now, how does the game go? And that's the truth, man. But happy to be bringing the fantasy basketball championship. Was this close to bringing my league of record. Made it to the championship. People were congratulating me after the first Sunday games. All right, you finally made it back. The commissioner curse, all those things. And lo and behold, Devin White goes off and has a game of his freaking life. And that's the fun of IDP, guys. You can have a linebacker bring you back in and break your heart, in my case, right? But yeah, dude, if you guys remember Friday's show, let's go ahead and bring it all back to there. Go away from football, come back to basketball a little bit. That's, it's my two favorite sports. I do love wrestling. Shout out to Bret Hart, because the excellence of execution, baby, how sweet it is. And there's going to be a lot of excellent execution coming on in this next fantasy football season. But just to prove my point, and I don't know, I'm shouting out ESPN, FS1, NBC, any of these shows that, sports are starting to dominate most people's stuff. It used to be about boring-ass stuff nobody cared about. Now it's about sports. There's a lot more money in sports. People are going to Ivy League schools to become CEOs and agents to go into the sports market because there's so much money in it, all right? So to bring it back to that, they have these sports shows all over. Some of these guys make millions of dollars to give you awful, bad advice. They care more about matching the granite with the tile in the living room of their new house and making sure the exterior paint of this room clashes well with the exterior paint of that room. They talk about this crap on their show. It's a sports show. I don't give a damn what you're doing at your house. I know y'all don't give a damn what I'm doing at my house. We're here to talk about sports. Put money in your pocket. Put the trophies on the mantle. That's what this show's about. All right? But those guys are lost. They let their interns do their thing. They care more about their iced coffee mocha before the show and where they're going to reserve the reservations, because they're part of the the Nob Hill people up on Nobility Hill, and they have to have reservations so that they are seen by the right people. They care way more about that crap than they do about the football, about the basketball, about the betting, and it's so obvious on some of them. So let me just come through. Somebody on ESPN, going back, because I had defended my Giannis and I had to defend it against some fans. Like, oh no, KD, dude, he's the best. KD is not even a top 5 player anymore. I don't know how long it's been, but we're gonna get to that in a second because I'm about to get heated up. I wanted to make sure we talked about fantasy football the next season. This is the season finale. The season finale, I let people have it. All right, KD will kill those guys. Talking about the Bucks, on how the Bucks have no chance against the Brooklyn Nets. That was from somebody on ESPN, somebody that knows a lot about basketball, supposedly, and somebody that's very knowledgeable, and people go to their opinion and they hang their hat on it. Well, that one wasn't right, ESPN. Now, was it? Let's find out where you were wrong. With Get Up, oh my gosh, I got to where I couldn't even stand some of their takes anymore. And I'm like, my God, y'all are just out here to create a soap opera. That's all y'all care about is ratings and soap opera and drama. Go watch the Kardashians or, Shaws of Sunset or something. This is supposed to be about sports and about truth. All right. One thing you guys said, KD, he's the best player in the NBA. And he has been since 2019. Once again, KD, not even a top 5 player. Can he shoot? Is he awesome when everything is going great and it's easy and there's no strife and there's no adversity? Yeah. Put him on easy street, baby, because that's all he's good for, all right? He can't carry the team. We're going to break it down some more, but I'm not done. There's more quotes, dude. This isn't even all of them. Another thing they said on Get Up is, KD, don't you ever compare me to Giannis. Well, yeah, obviously the proof's in the pudding. Giannis has stayed with the team that drafted him. They built around him, and they just knocked out your team that was a super team put together by a coach that never went, by D'Antoni's system, which never makes it to the finals, and a super team that just couldn't stay healthy because you put a bunch of hodgepodge, oft-injured players together. And the most important ability is what out there, people? That's right, availability. Always, always, always the most important statistic. All right, 80% of success is showing up. You can't show up on the court. You can't succeed for me, baby. If you're over there being a cheerleader, you might as well be up in the 3rd row, hanging out, drinking a beer with those people, because I need people that can play. Can't win with them. Can't play with them. Can't coach them. I need winners. You know, one of my favorite, the Baylor Bear, Mike Singletary, one of his famous lines. This is KD's league now. FS1, Mr. Coward. Which I love Coward. You know, he was my mentor. One of my people that made me want to get in this business. But it's obvious that he's leaving all the work to the interns. He's at sunny California. You know, just living it up. And he's worked hard to get there. So go live it up. But don't watch how you follow for advice for your betting, for your fantasy, and just for your viewing pleasure. If you're just somebody that just likes talking crap to your cousin or your uncle, you don't bet, you don't play fantasy, you don't do none of that, don't listen to those guys, because they are setting you up to just be murked, dude. You know, you're going to get posterized with your wrong information. This is not KD's league. This has never been KD's league. Kevin Durant, went to University of Texas, a university I loved as a kid, and he was there when I was younger. I'm not quite a kid anymore, not quite adult, what they call the tweens. J.R. Tolkien, shout out to him. Go read that book, Lord of the Rings. You got to read that, guys. But, he just never has been, guys. You're talking to me, and you listen to this show, tell your friends. You're talking to somebody that's been watching sports since they were like 3 years old. I've been watching football since Emmitt Smith was running, dude. How many of y'all even got to catch an Emmitt Smith game? I got to catch 20, probably 100, 80 something games growing up in DFW when they were good. I've played football my whole life. I've played basketball my whole life. I played multiple sports my whole life. So there's just inherent things that you can't be, BS'd on. You want to come talk about the best pop culture music or top 10 hits or what these celebrities are doing, or, even the best restaurants or the food. That's just not me, dude. And if I tried to pretend to be those things for you guys, it would be fugazi. And those that are about it would be able to spot it. And because I got it, I can spot it. It takes one to know one. All those things. All right? And you just can't bullshit a bullshitter. That's one thing my grandfather always told me, and that's true, right? And they just don't have it, man. If you got it, you know it. And it's so obvious to me. And just be careful, because I feel like their popularity, we live in an age where the truth is almost irrelevant. People want to hear what they want to hear. There's a verse in a book that says they were delivered a leader of evil. Why? Because it's what they wanted. All right. So if you apply that to your listening pleasure and your fantasy and your sports betting, if you want somebody that's just entertaining, questionably not even that, or if they're just popular and they're hanging their hat on their popularity, then go do that, because that's what you want. But if you want somebody hungry that's going to be giving you accurate advice, it's a lifelong fan that can spot the BS and let you know that is BS, well, then look no further and tell your friends. We're going into major expansion next year, okay? But to bring it back to KD and these guys harping on Giannis and giving Giannis a hard time, and the NBA having a narrative of wanting to stick one of their guys, a USA, natural-born, All-American, Kevin Durant. They want him. They didn't have Curry. LeBron's out all of a sudden. Jimmy Butler's gone. Not really a fan favorite, but still an American. Chris Paul, they hate. They can't stand. They wouldn't let Chris Paul go play with Kobe. Never forget that. Why don't they like Chris Paul? Because he's outspoken against the NBA multiple times when he was the head of the Players Association. And you know what they say? Burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me, right? So they have created that strife. There's just certain things that can't be put back together once they've been pulled apart. And Chris Paul, he's attacked them majorly. They didn't, like I said, they didn't let him play with Kobe. They do not want Chris Paul to be there, but he's going to be that guy. Paul George, it was all Kawhi. Oh, Kawhi, now Kawhi's hurt. So they went from ragging on Paul George. Oh, nothing, no, awful Paul George can't do nada. He's no good. He can't do this until those last two games in Utah. Oh my God, playoff PD. He's back. Let him just do his natural role. These guys just have this narrative, and it sucks, dude. It is such crappy, flip-flopping, inaccurate. I don't care. I'm just here to collect my paycheck. See you when I get out of here. How Kobe talked about. Why would I give those guys credit? Because they show up 10 minutes before practice and leave right after. When you got people like me out here busting my tail in here 3 or 4 hours, 2 hours at night, this is what I'm doing, guys. It's at nighttime. I'm looking at research. I'm looking at stats. I'm looking at live games. How's this going? Those guys are not doing that, man. They are not doing that. And it is obvious. All right. KD, I've been watching. I grew up in Dallas. Got to see a great rivalry between the 35. You know, you had OKC, you had Dallas, and you had San Antonio, and they were all wrecking shop back then. All right, so I got to catch a lot of great basketball in that time frame, just within my own corridor of, 35 is an interstate, a major highway, and it connects quite a few states. And Oklahoma City is about 4 hours from Dallas, and Dallas in turn is about 4 hours from San Antonio. So it's just this little gap kind of on these roads, right? And they called it the 35 battle, just to give you a little back. So I got to see a lot of Kevin Durant. I got to see a lot of James Harden. I got to see a lot of Serge Ibaka. I got to see a lot of Russell Westbrook and fell in love with him, and I still think he's one of the greatest NBA players of my lifetime. He's never going to get the respect he deserves because we just measure everything on championships. And what did I tell you earlier? The truth is irrelevant. What does the media pop up? Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant, best ever. Woo, Kevin Durant. They do that with Steph Curry, but they're both out. Now what do? Now who's your hero going to be? And the truth is it's the Balkan takeover, guys. The Balkan Peninsula, including Greece, they are just taking over the sport of basketball. And that's the truth, okay? And I think the NBA is a little happy about that. The NBA's always wanted the basketball to be a world sport. It's in the Olympics, but I don't think they saw the repercussions of the world being much better than the United States in basketball. And that's a narrative they didn't anticipate coming. Always account for unaccountable variables. That's an important that's an important lesson in life and in betting. Always account for unaccountable variables. All right, when possible. Sometimes you just don't even think about that crap. But to give you 5 players right now that is better than KD, and don't give me this crap before we get there. Well, Kyrie Irving, you knew he was going to get hurt. He was hurt in the midseason. All right, don't give me that. Oh, well, James Harden. James Harden played a lot of minutes. If you're out there, you're not hurt. Is that what they're saying? There's no excuses when you're out there. You've heard Shaq say that. You said Charles heard that. I've heard people say that in the NFL. If you're out there, if you're playing, you're lacing them up. You ain't got no excuses. You're telling me you can go play, all right? And that's the truth, all right? So don't give me this crap about, well, James Harden was kind of hurt, and he didn't have Kyrie Irving. Guess what? Who was on that floor starting? You know who was? Blake Griffin, Kevin Durant, James Harden. Guys that have all been superstars of their teams, been the go-to guy of their teams. That was still a super team out there. And they got put down by PJ Tucker, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. How to make sure I say the right brother's name. And Giannis. All right. Most of those guys, well, 2 of those guys, at least, that they built the team around homegrown, right? And they did it. And there's just so much more respect when you do that. And the truth is, KD's no Giannis. Sure, KD can light it up from anywhere and shoot well. He's not going to ever get 15 rebounds night in, night out. He's never, ever going to be able to just charge the hole in 90s basketball. That's what I don't get about Giannis. I was like, people are complaining. All these announcers that have been watching basketball since the 80s, they just feed that dog shit lie right to you. They eat it and they expect it to come out. You know, that's how you can tell a lot of these guys don't know their ass from their mouth, because the same thing comes out of both. Yeah, I said it. Iggy's fantasy embedded. You can tell it just comes out. And the same guys that probably appreciated 90s basketball, Giannis would have fit perfectly in 90s basketball. Ben Simmons would have been, if he's a little tougher, he would have been a great 90s basketball player. But they just want the pretty boys to light it up from the outside. Oh, don't touch me. Oh, don't touch me. Oh, don't touch me. No, I want the bang. You know, I told you guys, I grew up with Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Lonzo Mourning and Charles Barkley and Sean Kemp, baby. Guys that just brought it, man. And there's banging, and you could see them. They're over there pushing, and when they go to bang, there's a recoil of about a foot with those big guys. If that happens today, they're going to be looking for a flagrant. But Giannis was built for that. That's always been exciting basketball to me. Give me the guy that wants to take it in the paint and slam and posterize you and wants to fight to get rebounds. Give me that guy over the guy that just needs everything to be perfect and really dishes, everybody, the fans, the media, the guy that thinks he just that his crap don't stink. And let's get real honest about Kevin Durant. I watched a great Oklahoma City Thunder team be built with free agents come in. I mean, they did amazing things with their drafts and what they were able to accomplish. And KD made it to a championship. And he was really close to making it to another one whenever they were up 3-1 on the Warriors. But it fell apart. And you know what Kevin Durant realized? I'm going to be a nobody. I'm going to be forgotten. And people want to tout him as like the best scorer of our time. And I'm going to be forgotten because I'm never going to win a championship here. So what did he do? He went to the easiest team, the team that was already considered a dynasty. And they won a couple more. So now he's going to, in 20 years from now, he won 2. He's got finals MVPs. He was one. They're always going to be able to build him up. But just remember, if you really watched it, that he was never good enough to carry a team. And the proof was in the pudding. He's the guy that can just easy street coast it. No friction. I'm okay. I'm all right. The moment there was, he's not the guy. Blake Griffin, James Harden. That's a super team still, guys. I'm sorry. And it wasn't good enough to get past the homegrown Giannis and Middleton. All right. PJ Tucker, great addition. I knew when they added him, I knew what the plan was. They needed him for the playoffs. Point simple. They needed him to guard essentially Kevin Durant. He's not going to have. What's he going to do against the Hawks? Bogdanovic? He's been playing like crap. Huerta? He has off on nights. Gallinari? He has off nights. Maybe that's their matchup. He's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's a good basketball player. They brought them in for that move. They executed that move perfectly. And the excellence of execution. How sweet it is, right? How sweet it is. So 5 players better than Kevin Durant right now. Let's just go ahead and go with the MVPs. Jokic and Giannis. Those are your last 3 MVPs. No problem. I don't think there's any debating that they're better than Kevin Durant, what they do for their team, night in, night out, the rebounds, the assist. They're there all year. They actually play the season. So there's no doubt. The next for me is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic. Who's the second? Chris Porzingis? Hardaway? What do you think Kevin Durant would do with those guys? He couldn't do nothing with 3 or 4 superstars, the most offensive genius, great mind in the game, and he still couldn't do nothing. So Luka, definitely way better than Kevin Durant. And those are your Balkan guys. That's just 3 guys from the Balkan Peninsula, man. I told you they're taking it over. I'm going to still put LeBron James in that category because he was an MVP frontrunner before he got injured. And he does it all for his team. What happened when LeBron went out? The Lakers went to crap. All right, LeBron James is still way better than Kevin Durant, and he's like, that's the sourness of Kevin Durant and the people that hate LeBron because he's a good guy, because he's done so much, and people have made they've made a fortune and their life's work off of criticizing him and hating him and putting him down so that they can hype up all these jabronis and fugazis that don't know nothing about basketball out there. So LeBron, still better than KD. And then, it was so called, it wasn't hard thinking of players better than Kevin Durant. Not for me. I got them right here. Booker, Dame, Steph Curry, and Trae Young. Guys that carry their team. Guys drafted by their team. And the truth is, Booker and Trae Young, that we're just now dipping the pen in the ink. We've only got the first little line in that book. We still have pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages to fill. Damian Lillard, go put Kevin Durant in Portland. Let's make his second best player be old Carmelo Anthony and CJ McCollum, who's on and off sometimes, and a hurt Jokic and a hurt Cantor. Let's go see what Kevin Durant does in that small market. Nada. He wouldn't be able to carry that team like Dame does. I promise you that. He doesn't have the mental fortitude for it. All right? So let's not BS it. And plus the West, it's the West. This ain't Brooklyn. We're just breezing through the East. We get Charlottes and Orlandos and get out of here. And then we got Steph Curry. He's been in the league 10 years now. Kevin Durant's been in the league a long time. I don't know how many good years Kevin Durant has left. He's 6 years older than Giannis, and people wanted to say Giannis wasn't even close to KD, and Giannis is just now, we've dipped the pen in the ink. We wrote a couple pages. We've got a couple awards, but we're in the plot of the story for Giannis, and it can still keep going. So there's no question to me. And Curry, he's still got good years. Who knows what's going to happen when they get Klay Thompson? I don't know if that dynasty's over. I kind of lean towards it being over. I don't think Klay Thompson can revive it. But Steph Curry came back after injury and was getting legitimate MVP talks, led the league in scoring. Kevin Durant can't do that. He's too hurt all the time. He just doesn't care. That's what it comes down to. He just doesn't care. The apathy's more there than Trae Young. I think he's proven what he's going to be able to do and how great he's going to be and lighting up 40 points or getting 10 assists or getting the rebounds or playing all game. Whatever he needs to do, he's proven it. So I just listed you 8 players that are better than Kevin Durant that doesn't need to have a super team around them to be successful. And it was very easy. So guys, the party message is please, 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 please tell your friends. Please, 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 please join the charity league, man. It's up on my website, Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. You know, we're IDP Iggy over on Twitter. We got Iggy's Fantasy and Betting on Instagram and Facebook. I'm part of the Fantasy Football Advice Group and author, dishing out a lot of advice, getting a lot of feedback in that. I really appreciate it. Shout out to the Fantasy Football Hustler for that, man. But Kawasaki's kids, man, you don't even have to be in my league. Let's just spread awareness, put some money in it. You'll remember it. You'll hear that. You'll understand what's going on. Like I said, when I heard Kawasaki, I thought of like dirt bikes and quads and stuff like that. No, it's something a lot more serious than that. And if you go read my story, I think you'll be heartfelt touched. There's some graphic photos of my daughter and what she had to go through and how awful it was being in Children's Hospital for 9 days, and all those things, man. But to bring it back to fantasy football and fantasy basketball and sports in general, just be careful following guys that aren't hungry anymore. You know, it's hard to spot a lie. I've been scammed in a lot of ways in life, and it's a lot easier for me to kind of recognize when somebody's half-hearted. It's easy for me to tell when somebody's not about it. They're just trying to look at something for the money. And, you know, when people that love money, they can be motivated by it, but they're not looking at the right things, you know. And I bet to win money, but I want to win. That's my ultimate motivation in life, is winning and proving I'm right and knowing I'm right and then knowing that I'm better than a lot of these people. But we live in an age where popularity is more important than the truth, and popularity drives almost everything. Cardi B, who was she? Nobody. Became a social media star. Allowed her to get Grammys, allowed her to become a movie icon, and now she's like a worldwide icon. Was she ever a singer? No. Is her persona that she perceives to you real? No. But it's what a lot of people want, and I may not be what a lot of people want. I'm real, and I'm authentic, and I'm very truthful, and that comes off to people the wrong way because that's just not the era we live in. But if you stick with me, and when you come to this next season where I've already prepared, I've already dominated fantasy, I was in the playoffs in every league, I was one of the highest scorers in the Megalo Bowl. I'm going to bring you, we're going to bring you there. And I might be arrogant at times, I might be boastful, but I'm super confident. And those 3 things are common traits of champions in anything I've been in, from mountain biking to football to academics to every aspect of life. When you get to the cream de la crop, that's what's there. But my thing is, I'm not an asshole. I want to help you guys, and I want us all to win. I want us to take these bookies and them tell us, hey, y'all aren't allowed over here anymore at this sports book. Y'all go to somewhere else. And we will get there, and we will win big pots, and we will all be more successful for it. But remember, we're a community above all, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. And I just hope you tune in, and we're going to get things going. We're going to launch in July, man. And so we're taking a couple weeks off, getting prepped up, and then we're going to start coming at it hard and heavy, going back to probably 3 days a week in July. You know, we've been Monday, Friday lately. We'll probably go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we'll kind of ramp it back up to 5 days a week. So July 2nd, we'll be kicking back off. So not too long, just a couple weeks off, just a couple normal shows. And then it'll be different. Music will be different. Lineups will be different. I'm going to focus on having a lot more guests out there. I've already been collaborating with others. You know, they want me to all join these little kind of cliques and things that are kind of weird in fantasy, you know. But I have my opinions, and I'll stick with them, and I'll defend them. We're going to cover IDP. We're going to cover defense. We're going to cover offense. We're going to cover division winners. We're going to cover over-under and wins. We're going to talk about all football coming back in July. A little bit of NBA Finals, all right? Because, you know, it's the NBA Finals. My God. Who doesn't like that, right? And from the bottom of my heart, I have it right here. I want to thank all of you, man. This podcast, there's been a listener in every continent except Antarctica. So one thing I can say without lying is that this is worldwide podcast, and I'm very thankful to be, and I really appreciate everybody's support. And we're going to make season 2 a great year. It's going to be one to remember. Hashtag Iggy's FMB. Hashtag Fantasy Football 7s. Hashtag Where's the D? That's an E. Send up some lineup questions. Anything you got? No basketball today, so I'm not really going to be putting on a bet of the day. I'm staying away from hockey and baseball. Like I said, I'm very truthful. Those sports took my money. I don't really watch them as much. But cheers, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.